Alrighty, hello Randall 5th grade families. This week in math we have been studying adding and subtracting unlike fractions, and what that means is when you're adding and subtracting fractions that do not have the same denominator. This has been going really pretty well. Students are paying attention, they're participating, but what I'm noticing is we're reaching frustration level during independent work time, where if the problem becomes more challenging or has a lot of multiples or greatest common factors, they're kind of shutting down a little bit, or if they're not writing out all their steps, they think they can cut some corners, not have to write as much, they're messing up and not able to look at their work and figure out where they went wrong. So I'm trying to teach them that you can't cut corners. I can't cut corners as an adult. You have to do the work, and honestly that's what's going to be expected in middle school and high school anyway. Okay, we want evidence that this is your thinking and your thinking only. We want to see that you know the steps, because if you get it wrong, we need to be able to figure out how to help you. And if you just have an answer down, I can't do that, and I really don't see how they can do this, some of these anyway, in their head. So we really need to make sure we're doing all the steps. So I'm just trying to communicate those out there so students can practice these, and hopefully we'll just keep improving in class. So our first problem we're going to do together is 2 6 plus 2 18ths. All right, and first thing we notice when adding fractions is if the denominators are the same or if they are different. And here they are different, so again, they are unlike fractions. So in fraction world, we don't like different. We want them to be the same because it's easier to deal with. So we take 6 and 18, and we're going to find the multiples that they have in common, specifically the least common multiple. So what that means is to find the multiples, we're going to start skip counting by sixes. 6, 12, 18. Okay, usually I encourage students to list the first 5 multiples, just because it kind of gives you a good base, but I also want them to use their number sense that they have and use their discretion if they really think they can stop. And the reason I stopped is because I see 18, well, this number is 18, and 18 is obviously going to be the least valued number that is a multiple of 18 because it's the first one. So multiple means skip counting. Okay, common means one that they have in common, and least means the least value. So something I like to do is I like to go over here, and now that I know that my denominator is going to be 18, I'm going to go ahead and get that set up. Note that I'm doing addition and bring that down as well. So now I have to say, okay, I know that 6 times 1, 2, 3 gets me 18, and what I have to do to the bottom, I have to do to the, okay, hopefully all your kids at home said top, because that's what we do at school and that's what they should know. So if you do it to your denominator, you should do it to your numerator. So I multiply this by 3 as well. Okay, same thing over here, 18 times 1 gets me 18. So I have to do 2 times 1. All right, so now I have 2, I have 6, and I'm ready to add straight across. So now I take my 6, I add my 2, I get my 8. So I have 8 18ths. Okay, what I need to do next is come back over here and see if I can simplify. So that means if I can make this fraction in its smaller form, reduce it till it can't be reduced any longer. And we call that greatest common factor. So that means you're taking factors of your numerator and your denominator, which in this case is 8 and 18. All right, and you're finding the one with the greatest value that they have in common. Okay, factors are the numbers that are multiplied together in a multiplication problem. So I know that 1 and 8, obviously, 1 and 18, obviously. Okay, so that might not be super necessary, but it might just be 1, which means this fraction would stay the same. However, my number sense, my background knowledge tells me that's not true, because these are both even numbers, which means they can definitely be divided by 2, and I'm going to see if I can do even higher than that. With that being said, 2 and 4 makes 8, and that takes care of 8. 18 can be 2 and 9, 3 and 6, but it turns out it is just 2. Okay, it's the greatest number, okay, greatest factor that they have in common today. So that means I can take 8 and 18, divide them each by 2, and get 4 ninths. Okay, this is simplest form. All right, I know that the factors of 4 are 1, 4, and 2, and the factors of 9 are 1, 9, and 3. All right, so since it's just 1, that's all I can do, and my answer to 2/6 plus 2/18 is 4/9. My beautiful 4. I think I just made it worse, but it's 4/9. All right. Okay, moving on to subtraction, same thing, just different operation. Okay, we want to make sure that we're paying attention to those operations, because if we don't, we can just get it wrong for a silly reason. Okay, same thing, noticing that the denominators are different and that I want them to be the same. Finding that least common multiple. Okay, I'm going to use my number sense again, and I know that each number when multiplied by 10 is going to end in a 0. So I'm going to think of what numbers I know end in 0 when multiplied by 7. Okay, I know that 7 times 5 is 35, not 30. So the closest I'm going to be able to get to 7 is probably going to be 70, and I can see by counting by 7s if that's true. Okay, and it is. Okay. Woo, that's gorgeous. All right, so 70. So my new denominator in this case is 70. All right, I want to acknowledge that this is subtraction. All right, and I know that 10 times 7 gets me 70. And I know that 7 times 10 gets me 70. So now I have 20. And I have 42. Okay, so now I'm ready to subtract. So I go over here, write down my 70. Now you kids can do this in their head. They can come up here. All right, I don't necessarily need to see this step, but sometimes it helps students. Okay, so now I can look and see that I need to find my greatest common factor again. Okay, we have 22 and 70. Alrighty, so I'm going to look at these again and think, okay, 70 is going to be, I'm going to start here because this is easier for me. 1 and 70. 10 and 7, 2 and 35. Okay, I'm going to say 1 and 22, 11 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to say again, it's probably just 2. So I'm going to go over here and try that theory. Okay, although 35 has more multiples than just 1 in itself, I know 11 does not. So that's going to be my answer. Woo. Okay, there it is. So see, this can be overwhelming, like looking at all of this for students. But I think if they really go through those steps, maybe watch and rewatch this video, do the steps of the problems I assign along with me, I really think it will help. I'm going to maybe have them add this into their notes, create a anchor chart, and then just once they get these steps memorized, and then we can focus on the why behind it, I really think they'll have a deep understanding. Alrighty, well again, I hope this was helpful. Annoy my coffee ring, and have a great night.